Hey everybody. Today we're going to be building a mousetrap car, and I built these kits with my 3D printer because I had a lot of students who were struggling with the project from home. They struggled with acquiring appropriate parts and how things work. So I made these kits, and I printed one just with 4 colors just because it would be fun to have 4 colors. And we're going to assemble one together here real quick because the reality is it is easy. So first things first, you need a body for your mousetrap car. And I got these long planks here, and we're going to connect them with just a wide piece. This wide piece will serve to hold the mousetrap as well as give the body some stability. So I got these little hexagon things, and we're just gonna shove them in there just like that, and then bind the two together as such, and then take my little screws that go into it and twist my little screw in. And I made a little tool that comes with it if I need it, just to really twist it down. And then I'm just going to repeat that process over here. Same thing. Put my nut in here to bind them together. And right now I'm probably going to do some fast forwarding throughout the project because I don't know about you, but I don't want to listen to me talk all this much time. And maybe if I'm fast forwarding as we do this, I'll sound like the Chipmunks, which I don't know. I think that'd be kind of fun if I sounded like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Now, while you're building these things, the cool thing if you have a kit like this is that it's completely modular, and it's like, oh, I don't like how that fits. And you can just take it apart and redo it. And if you're trying to put it together with hot glue, you could run into situations where, oh, that doesn't look right because we glued it in the wrong place. Or I've seen a lot of kids put the mousetrap on pointing the wrong direction. So almost got the easy part of the body done. And while I'm building this with a kit, please understand that you can and probably should build them with materials from home. I love that project, but I had a lot of kids who they just really struggle with acquiring the right materials from home to build them, and technical know-how, because too many kids today, they're just not building stuff at home. And so I made the kit. All right, here's my rudimentary body for the car. Make sure my mousetrap fits. I don't have to fix anything right now. It's a little difficult. Things are a little misaligned. I probably could move that up there if I wanted, but it'll work. It's doable. But the mousetrap really is one of the last things. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to try to get the wheels on. And so I got to get, these guys are my wheel holders, my axle holders. So I start with a nut on top. Start with a nut on top in equal places, across from each other, so to speak. Okay, and then I wind these guys in because they are they're a glorified screw. So we got that, point it nice and straight through like that. I got the nut there. Another one of these. Twist it through, of course, same deal. And twist it through because you want to have them nice and parallel across from each other. And that is, I think, one of the keys to having a good project is having these things nice and parallel and square with one another. So actually I might twist that one back one. No, just a back one. Now they're aligned better. So they're aligned better that way. Just a little symmetry thing. So now what can happen is my axle can go through here, and spin real nice. So now let's talk about doing an axle, because I can do the back in a second. So for my axles, I got these pencils, and I designed these little rims, I guess, with my particular pencils in mind. So you may have to resize things or some such in order to make them work for you. So slide that on like that. I'm gonna put shiny side out, and then I got these little rim holders, and the idea is to sandwich your CD in there. Now it holds them really nice, but you could have some slippage, and if you want traction, just a little piece of just Scotch tape would hold that on, and you hardly notice it if necessary. Or maybe it spins on the axle a little bit. Again, just a little piece of Scotch tape out here on the outside, it'll lock it down, it'll be glorious. Now, one classic mistake I see is people put the whole axle together, and it's not on the car, and then they get frustrated because they gotta take it apart. So you gotta slide it through before you have the whole thing together, and then put your other axle on, just like you did before. And I've noticed with my pencils that one side's usually easier than the other side. Get that sandwiched real good. Again, I may have to put a little tape on there later to get it to stick together good, but then you can see you got a nice, easy roll happening. Oh, I forgot something. The beautiful thing about this is I can just pull this right off and take it apart if I need to. And what I forgot was these spacers. And so these spacers are really great because they prevent the axle from wandering back and forth. So I can slide that back together, and bada boom, there it is. Now I'll snug things up later, trying to be quick today. And that takes a lot of the wander out. I can even adjust it more if I like. And so now I gotta go and repeat with the back of the car. Now the reason I have it with a fork here is because when the mousetrap is snapping, it's going to be pulling a string. And I don't want that string to rub on anything while it's doing it. And that's a critical idea that a lot of people don't think about. They make a rectangular body with no notches in it. And so when the mousetrap is pulling on the string, they're not thinking about the logistics of how working with that string is going to be. And it's really inconvenient for your hands, like when you're trying to wind it up even. You know, we like things to be convenient, of course. Ouch, 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 ouch. I had a blister yesterday, and so I hit that blister just now. And that hurt. I'll live, I'm a big boy. Those should be nice and straight with each other at that point. And so we just gotta do the axle again. Oh, this one doesn't match. Oh, I'll replace that later. So same thing I had to do before. Load the axle. And again, I'll tighten things up later. I'm trying to do it kind of quick right here for you. That there. Get my other spacer involved. Get my last axle put together. Oh boy. The greatest hits of the 80s. I can't believe we're wasting a gem like that. I lost a piece. I lost an axle. Oh, there it is. There it is. Found it. Oh, Maniac. That's a good one. What else we got here? Karma Chameleon. Oh, boy. La Bamba. A lot of good songs on that CD. So, now we have... I mean, at this point, look. It's a car, and it rolls all nice and smooth and even. So that's great. Now we get to the fun part of the mousetrap itself. And so this is your standard mousetrap. Now you can get the ones that have the fake cheese here. If you're trying to catch mice, I much prefer this one because the copper trigger plate, I think, holds better. But to be honest, I don't even want the thing that holds the arm, this pin. I don't even want that. So I take that off. And honestly, I don't even need the trigger plate. So I'm going to take that off as well. I don't need those. What I need is the spring and the snapper arm. Because the snapper arm can go wonky, wonky, wonky like that, and that's what's going to trap your mouse, and in our case, pull our car. Now, which way's forward? When you look at the mousetrap, where the bait goes is where the direction it snaps. So this is quote-unquote forward. So you want to make sure that you orient it so that this is pointed away from the drive axle of your car. So when you look at your car here, this back here is the drive axle. So you're going to wind the string around here. So you want it to snap away from that part of the car. So now we got to attach the mousetrap holder brackets. And this, this is the part that really requires some experimenting. You just kind of have to play with it a little bit and see where you want your brackets to be on here. So I got one there, and I put 4 in my kit, not because I don't know if you necessarily need 4, but maybe you want 4. Because look, I got 2. 2's doing the job, 2's doing the job. And if they're lined up right, you could thread a screw through to really pinch down on that mousetrap and hold it still. I've got spots on the side if I just really want to hem it in and keep it from going anywhere. And I promise you, the materials can handle the pushing and crimping that you're doing to the body. Okay, so I got the mousetrap mounted on the car. It's on there. And then our next to last thing is this little bit, and this is to hold the snapper arm. So I open up my snapper arm, and my worst fears are confirmed. I have 2 models of snapper arms. This is the smaller of the 2. Hold up a sec, I'll grab a bigger one. This one I designed to be just a little bit bigger, and it goes on like so. So we got that on there, and then to make our snapper arm, I built this to fit a chopstick. So, in preparation for this practice, get some takeout so you have a chopstick. You can see that's on there, and this goes on here. And I made these little discs. This little guy, if you're worried about this coming off, you can shove that up in there, and they're threaded, so you can twist a nut down into there to hold it in place. But for right now, we're not going to do that. So a moment on string. String is the last thing you need. I've got a variety of different strings in the room. It truly doesn't matter which one you use. I prefer just a really simple nylon cord would be my preference. So how much does a person need? That's the question. So what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm just going to tie a quick knot here. And, if you are a Boy Scout, you should know that a clove hitch would go just perfectly right here. So you tie your clove hitch right there. or any old knot that'll keep it in place. Throw a piece of tape on it, put a drop of hot glue on it if you're worried about it moving. How long do you need? So now you roll your string out to the back axle. That is the maximum amount of string you'll need. If your goal is just go for far, that's the amount of string you'll need, because that's the amount you'll use. Give it just a couple inches beyond that, and if you do more than that, you run the risk of it wrapping back around the axle and stopping your car, which, by the way, if your project calls for the stopping of the car, there's an idea. You can use the length of your string as a brake. Something to think about if that's what your teacher requires. So let me cut that. Now, we're ready for just a rudimentary practice here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around the axle. One thing I do sometimes is I put some Scotch tape on here and I wrap it sticky side out. And why Scotch tape? Because it's like a Post-it note. It's sticky, but it's not too sticky. And all that does is it gives the string traction. It's not going to hold it. You don't want to fix it to it because then it turns into a brake later on. But you want to wind it on the axle. And then when you get to the point where you can start pulling the mousetrap back, you start winding the mousetrap back. And I'm getting slippage because I don't have that tape on there. But if you put that tape, you won't have that situation. And see, now it's winding up and the arm is doing the thing. Let me double back on itself here. Winding it up, winding it up, winding it up, winding it up. Now this car's ready to roll. And so we set our car here. And if we just want to see it run, look, it goes. I'm getting spinning. There might be too much traction here. And the one thing that might need to be done to the car is maybe it's too front loaded with pull, and you need perhaps a little bit of counterweight back here to hold it down. Or maybe you get a couple of balloons and cut the balloons and turn them into a tire on here to give that drive axle some grip. So there we go. That was 17 minutes of building a mousetrap car. So give your class 3 or 4 days and they'll actually be able to do it. All right, there you go.